The art of braiding was commonplace and played a major role in the style that adorned the heads of African men and women. An African man could frequently be found carving a comb with meticulous care for himself or to present as a gift to the woman of his heart. The comb that found expression through the artistic skill that he possessed represented an extension of himself and the culture that bore him. The world of the African changed drastically, beginning in the 14th century with the Portuguese and terminating in the 18th with the Americans, as millions were transported to distant shores for the purpose of slave labor. Needless to say, his comb did not accompany him to these far distant shores. Grooming would cease to be of utmost importance to him for some time, as he was led in chains to his final destination before leaving Africa, the infamous island of Gorée. On the island of Gorée, in what is now Dakar, Senegal, African men, women, and children were detained for months at a time for exportation to the Americas. The conditions of their detention, which defy the imagination, still speak out as a testament to the depths mankind can sink. La Maison des Esclaves, the house of the slaves, still smells of the urine and body stench left some 290 years ago. Africans were crowded so close together that sometimes the dead and dying could not fall. The crying of the captives so filled the night air that sleep was anything but possible. The smell of human excrement paralyzed the nostrils and caused breathing to become a difficult process. Many Africans, as they were being led to the waiting ships, managed to take their own lives on the merciful rocks below. Those unfortunate souls, strong enough to survive the terror of Gorée, left there for their final destination, slavery in America. The unsolicited journey, which began from the island of Gorée and terminated in the Americas, claimed the lives of many more of this human cargo. The hair of the African, encased with excrement, pus, and other debris, paradoxically hardened into a protective mat. The women in their separate quarters could often be heard calling out to their men and their God, but to no avail.
Wala! Sana na!
When the African reached the shores of this country, due to the combined effect of the trauma of his experience, he was in a state of physical and neurological collapse. His physical and mental states were perfect for the planting of the inferior seed. What could have possibly been going through his already overwrought mind as he viewed the strange-looking people before him? Perhaps he was thinking of his home, which he knew by now he would never see again.
Okay, he's going to hurt you now. Go ahead and take a look at him. Go ahead and touch him. This one will do some good work out there in the field. Come on, don't be afraid of him, man. He ain't gonna hurt you.
Of course. It's like wool.
What do you think?
Ain't like no man I ever seen before. But we'll take him.
Come on up and take a look at him. He ain't gonna hurt you. Come on. Come on up and take a look at him. He's strong. He's not gonna hurt you. He's in his shackles now. Come on, take a look at him. He ain't gonna hurt you. He's in his shackles. He ain't gonna hurt you at all.
The hand that reached out to touch him, fondle him, and stroke him, only to determine his market value, left a mark that his progeny 3 generations later still bear.
We got 3 females here. Take a look at them. Go ahead, touch them. Go ahead, they're not gonna hurt you. Do it healthy.
They're so black. They're so black. They're so black. They're so black. And their hair.
The African, totally removed from his homeland, totally severed from his culture, had nothing with which to defend himself against the brainwashing treatment he was being subjected to. He thought constantly of his home, and for a while this helped him endure the unendurable. His mind reflected on the warning of the old wise men who told the people, "A pale man will come soon. He will take away our warriors and women to a strange land. It will be a painful time for our people." The wise men, to whom few paid serious attention due to their inability to comprehend paleness, were correct in their prediction. The slave, due to the subhuman treatment that he received, was a prime candidate for illness. Illness was not considered to be an excuse for rest and relaxation, unless it was debilitating. Many illnesses which were only painful, he suffered with a quiet courage that has been seldom publicized. Tetter was a scalp disease that afflicted him due to the unsanitary conditions of his environment. Ringworm, parasitic infestation, and body lice also caused him untold misery. The African, once a proud warrior and dignified human being, had become the tender of livestock. The upkeep of the animal that he cared for was of greater concern to the master than was his own. Most assuredly, since he had in his possession no personal grooming implements with which to effect personal hygiene considerations, he was unkempt and unclean. The damage done to his self-esteem can only be imagined. His ability to endure and survive where others obviously could not has to be admired. Before long, a new generation would come to know the degradation of slavery. This generation, the descendant of the African, did not possess the protective influence that one's own culture can provide. They would be born in slavery. Unlike the African who became a slave, they would know nothing but slavery. They would be slaves in mind, body, and spirit. The Tree of Life depicts a generation of blacks being supported by prior generations from which we draw our strength and endurance. No matter what we are called to suffer or overcome, we shall survive as a people. The house slaves, whose responsibilities included preparing the master's food, had to make sure that her hair was covered at all times. In addition, due to her inability to comb it, for lack of a comb, she was understandably quite sensitive about its appearance. It was in this manner that the hair of the black woman disappeared from view until the latter part of the 19th century. Because of the semi-decent treatment that was afforded her, relative to that given the field slave, the house slave in time adopted an air of superiority when in the presence of field slaves. It bothered her that the master could not stand to look at her uncombed hair. She made sure that he would never have to suffer that experience.